Hey guys, we're back with Glenn. This time we're going to do a little bit more talking with him. He's got some cool stuff to show us, so let's get down to it. Glenn, how's it going today?
Hey Nate, welcome back, man.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Absolutely, man.
What you got good for us today? We didn't really do a lot of showing last time I was here, so today we're going to do a lot more showing of what you got.
So I got some oddities. I've got some stuff, a little bit of teaching material, a little bit of stuff that we're going to break out, and we'll explain why we're breaking it out. I've got some oddities that you don't usually see, some bullion that we're going to talk about, some toner Morgans that we're going to talk about, and one of the weirdest things I've seen in a while. So I look forward to it, and let's dive in, man.
Yeah, sure. Take it away. That's where you want to start.
All right, so here, let's start with this bar. This walked in the other day. I thought it was pretty neat. It's not every day that you see a Vicambi with 5 zeros in it, 000100. Now I sound like a computer. Yeah, this is just a really neat bar. You hear people talk about premiums on stuff all the time, and one of the things I've noticed is just like banknotes, there are people that like bars that are serial numbered with lower serial numbers or single-digit serial numbers.
Let's get a good go. Show people what you're talking about there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit on that number for them.
So I had this gentleman walk in with this. I paid him a good premium over for it because it's a very neat bar. You don't see them. Vicambis, are desirable. It's not exactly attractive. It's seen its better days, but that's just how they made them. Vicambi did a very short run on these, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just got that older look to it. It's not a very old bar, but that a lot of people talk about collectible bullion, and we've a lot of this modern stuff has just gotten more collectible. But something I've realized is these older guys that are collecting some of these bars, or even these younger guys that are collecting the bars, they've been making silver bars for I think we're over 100 years now. They've been making them forever, basically. Look at the stuff that came off the Etosha and all that. You've got these gargantuan bars, or you've got they cut the tops off of the gold ones and they seal those up. It's amazing. But the silver bar market is still really hot. Vicambi's a known company. I had a couple of Engleharts in here the other day, but I had a London Englehart kilo come in. It was from London with the counter stamp from their assayer that they used, and dude, it was amazing. I mean, I actually found it out in the wild. You can still find stuff, guys. I do recommend going to your local coin shops or your pawn shops and stuff like that, because you never know what you're going to find. But a good buddy of mine had it come into his shop, and I bought it for $1,200-$1,300, paid melt for it because that's what he wanted. I had it sold at the fun show. Hope Fun was good for everybody. It was, I think, debatably the best summer fun we've had in a long time. Anyways, I bought this bar and I flipped it. I made $200-$300, but I made $200-$300. But the thing is there was a huge desirability on that market because that bar was collectible. So even the new stuff like this Vicambi, you just got to keep your eye out for these serial numbers because just like radar notes and the repeaters, you never know. You might find a bar that has a really low serial number that's going to bring you a little bit more value than what it's worth. So moving on from this, let's talk about coins that if you like them, you should absolutely put them together, but they're very difficult to sell. And Nate, I think you will agree with me that these are probably two of the hardest books to sell.
Oh yeah.
Jefferson Nichols. Okay. This set is actually worth a lot of money if you get an extremely nice set. And I am not hating on any Jefferson Nickel collectors. I love them. I think they are very pretty coins. Yeah, absolutely. The set is not full because I pulled out the stuff that I dubbed better. Not all the coins are unk, but I wanted to talk about this set because the set is just not super rare. You can put a Jefferson Nickel set together for very little money. In circulated condition, it's when you get a truly uncirculated set that the set starts to gain values. When you get the full steps, that's really where the money is in nickels, is if you get a full step nickel. Which, if you guys don't know, the way you tell if a nickel is full steps is you want to look at the stairs on the Monticello, and you should see no breaks. You'll be able to count every stair on the Monticello's staircase, and that's how they dub it. And you guys have probably seen them. Usually they dub it like, I think NGC says FS on it for full steps. Yeah. And then I've even seen some of the companies that for a while there, some of them were doing like 5 full steps or 6 full steps, because it is an extremely difficult thing to do, is to get them in full step. So the full step varieties are really the ones you want to look for. You want to look for a Jefferson nickel that just is blazingly beautiful, has full steps. But otherwise, the ones that are in this set that are really worth your money are your silver ones, which are your 42D, not your 42 Philly. This coin is not silver. A lot of people think this coin is silver. It's not. But during World War II, we needed the metals that we were using in these coins. So we actually put about 35% silver in some of our nickels. And those ones today are actually really unpopular. But they are gorgeous. When you find a mint state silver nickel, they are just breathtaking. I think they're very pretty. You can find some of them with the most amazing colors as well. But one of the things people are like, oh, well, why don't they melt them? The reason is there's manganese in these coins. And if you don't know, manganese, when it's melted, releases a gas that's poisonous. So a lot of people, you can't really melt them, and they gum up the machines. So there's not really a big industrial need for them. And the other thing a lot of people don't know is, and I don't know how true this is a lack of knowledge on my part, and that's okay. Like I said, you learn something new every day. But it's actually illegal to melt down pennies and nickels. So, but the government also said that you could melt down coins that have precious metals in them at one point. So that it's really a gray area with nickels. I don't know anyone that's melting them. I'm pretty sure it's still illegal. But like I said, it's just something to look out for. If you're coin roll hunting, nickels are really one of those undiscovered coin rolls. You can find some silver in nickels. You can find, they do appear. They have a completely different color when they're in circulated condition than all the other coins. And the other easy way to identify a silver nickel, let me scoot over here and grab one, because a lot of people don't know this, because I don't have any in there, but I do have some sitting over there. The silver nickels are the only coin that, if you look, the mint mark is above the Monticello, okay? The later years, you have the mint mark right here to the left, or to the right, and it sits right up on this little ledge there. But all of the silver coins, all of them have the mint mark up here on top of the Monticello, and it's big, it's bright, you can see it.
So you look for PD or S, guys.
PD or S. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first, and don't hold me to this, and like I said, I'm not perfect. I do believe it's the first coin that we actually put the Philadelphia's mint on. I don't think Philly put their mint mark on any other coin until this nickel. So it's just it is an interesting piece of numismatic history.
Now, kind of going back to this kind of set, would you recommend, this is kind of one of those sets that you say, starter for a kid or somebody like that would be great. It gives them the ability to look through change kind of thing. And,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not trying to knock the set, guys.
There's a huge nickel loving hobby out there. I love nickels. I loved this set. There's a very good reason why there is a bunch of holes in this set. And the reason is because this came in as a full set, and I pulled out all of the mint state nickels, and I sent them out, because these nickels in high grade are actually worth a little bit of money, even if they don't get full steps. And then, like, you have some key dates in your nickel series too. They're just not super rare. Okay, you can probably put together a nickel set, a circulated nickel set. From 38 to the 50s for probably like less than $100. But on a kid's side, it's an affordable set you can put together. I actually, with pennies getting, most of us started with pennies. Like Nate, I think you started with pennies like I did. I wish I would have known about nickels, because you can put this set together way cheaper than you can the Wii sets. because the wheat cents, they have a major key date that's worth, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, whereas this set doesn't. Now you do have coins in the set that are very expensive if they grade correctly, but for a circulated set, you can put it together very affordably. So on this note, like I said, love Jefferson nickels. Don't ever let anybody disappoint you, because I've seen some Jefferson nickels. Like, I had one walk up to me at Dalton when I was in the Dalton Coin Show up in Georgia. Great show if you guys ever get a chance to go up there. Dalton, Georgia does a very good show. I want to say the GNA show is coming up in April. I do encourage you guys to go there. It's an extremely fun show. I want to say it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show for the public. It's excellent. And to any dealers, if you don't do the GNA show, it's phenomenal. I really recommend it too. And the Blue Ridge show that we just had, I would argue it's the best Blue Ridge show we've ever had. I think it was excellent. I can't wait for the next one. All right, so moving on from this set, there's one other set that I love to talk about. Susan B. Anthony's. You can ask 90% of the people on the street who she was, they can't tell you. So if you don't know, Susan B. Anthony was a women's rights advocate, early 1900s, if I'm not mistaken. She advocated for women's suffrage. No, it wasn't women suffering, it was their right to vote. She is a huge key component on why women today have as many rights as they do, to vote, to do a lot of stuff. This set, though, very untalked about, very easy to do. It's done. They stopped. It's actually a really weird set. I think the only one missing is the actual key date from this set. Yeah, the 81S Type 2. So this set, though, gray sheets for good money. The problem is there's very few customers for it. The set is as rare as the customer. Okay, so there's just not a lot of people that collect this coin because there's not a lot of knowledge out there about it. Who she was, what she did, and it is a beautiful coin, but what they did was, I feel like they really dropped the ball on the set when they first released the coins. We were coming out of an era where our dollars were dollar size. And we went from a dollar being this big to a dollar being roughly the size of a quarter. I think it's a little bit bigger. But we ran into a lot of issues with that. People would get them and they'd spend them thinking they're a quarter. And even today, you get people that find them in their change and they're like, oh, I've never seen one of those before. What is this? And it's like, hey man, regardless, it's a dollar. Don't use it as a quarter. You'd see people putting them in vending machines and all sorts of stuff. But they stuck with this size. That's the one thing I will give them. They stuck with the size, and now we have the presidential dollars. But it really interesting. Something I don't know, and I don't know if you know. It's one of the biggest year jumps I've ever seen on a coin. The only other coin that I can think that had a big jump like this, like recently, like 20th century, is the Morgan dollar, because we stopped in 1904 and then we made no other coins, and then in 1921 we made the 21 Morgans again. Well, right here we stopped in 1981 and then they made 3 coins for 1999. So that's an 18-year difference. That's actually a substantial difference for them to not make a dollar, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're just gonna make one last coin and then we're done. The mint state coins for this set are not that rare. Your biggest key dates are your proofs. Very easy set to put together. Most dealers are just happy to sell them. I know that when they get them. The book, the Dansko book itself, is worth almost as much as the collection, which is sad to say. But again, I do believe it's because there is not a big collector's market for this coin. They are pretty. I think they did a very good job with the design. They did just copy the eagle off the back of the Ike. I wasn't a big fan of that. But other than that, it is a very pretty coin. But once again, it's one of those sets that you can put together relatively affordably. It's relatively affordable. It's not crazy. It's not going to cost you, you're not going to spend $1,000 on this set. You might not even spend $200 on the set. And if you're really good, you'll go to your coin shops and start looking through their 81 proof sets and see if they missed one, because I know a lot of the shops don't check them because there's just not a big market for it. So you might find yourself a little score out there. So keep an eye on this set because I do think it's a very underappreciated set. And you can find some real winners in this set. Like don't get me wrong, the 81 is the best one if I'm not mistaken. But you have a Type 2 also in the 79S, which this coin, if I'm not mistaken, sheets it anywhere from $30 to $40, which is a great thing. You know, it is a really cool set. It's just one of those sets that's not talked about, not really appreciated, and there's a very large lack of information about the coin and about her. She was a huge piece of our history that I think is not talked about, and I think what she did was really, it really was amazing. Like they did marches and all sorts of stuff. You know, she was very, very pro-rights for women. And, she wasn't alive to see all the changes that came about from all the stuff that she did. You know, there was a lot of stuff that she advocated for that we didn't see happen until, the 40s, 50s, or 60s. So, like I said, she was a very important person in American history. And that's why she's on a coin. You know, we don't just put random people on coins. I can tell you that. All right, next coin. Oh, Toner Morgans.
Yeah,
let's talk about Toner Morgans. Okay. Let's talk about cost. Excuse me for one moment. All right, so Toner Morgans. We're going to talk about these because I want to talk about color premium. Anyone who's gone to a coin show will tell you eye appeal is a reason for pricing. Not me personally. I think that the eye appeal, just like on Proof Indians, needs to be really stellar. But there's different terms that people use, like you'll hear rainbow toned, chromatic toning, all sorts of stuff. These coins bring a premium because who doesn't want to look at a pretty coin? And that's really it. I do think that the coins deserve to be worth more because in Gray Sheet, this coin's like $50. You know, if I had this coin out retail, it'd probably be like $60 if it was if it was just a white coin. So it's not a rare coin, but the color makes it beautiful and it makes it desirable to people who like to collect stuff like that. So how do you justify pricing stuff like that? So the rule of thumb I was always taught was double bid. You know, when you get a pretty coin, you double the price on it, and you hope that somebody will buy it. You negotiate. But I've gone to a lot of these shows, and I've seen people that have Morgans that are common dates, but they're beautiful to look at. They're beautifully colored, blues, reds, purples, all sorts of colors, even eagles, even silver eagles. And they want, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, a couple thousand, depending on the coin. And I'm like, wow, has that market really gotten that desirable? And it's really fascinating to me because I don't get them very often. The guy that brought me this, I want to say I threw him like $100 because I thought it was cool. But me personally, I'm gonna throw this coin out for like $125, $130 because it's an 85.0. It's not, it's not a super rare coin. But if there's somebody out there that's gonna want it, they might pay more. It's really I have this one, I can ask whatever I want for it. And that's kind of how the color premium goes. If it's pretty enough, somebody will pay what I'm asking. And I love those guys. I have seen some absolutely gorgeous Morgans over the years. Like this one pales in comparison to some of the amazing coins I've seen.
This one's got little blues on it, looks like.
Yeah, the hair. The reason I like it is because the hair just cascades down. You can see the colors all throughout the hair.
Yeah, let's see if I can get that. It's kind of a hard shot.
Yeah, let me light it up and see if it'll.
A little light will help here.
Let's see.
You can see a little bit. The pictures, guys, the video's not gonna do it justice, but it's got some nice toning to it, different colors.
But it's not. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. The deep chromatic look. All right, now on to the main reason I wanted to bring up this coin: artificial versus natural. Okay. How do you tell the difference? The best way I was told does it look like it's in the metal or is it on the surface? Okay, so toning is one of those things where it's kind of really hard to explain. You either can look at something and loop it and be like, man, you know, that coin is just beautiful. It's nice. It doesn't, you know, you can see the toning into a scratch. And then you'll get some coins that look like, oh, actually, you know what, Nate? I have one. Let me grab it.
All right, grab it. I'll show it. Try to see if I can do a little more.
It's right here. Let me show you what an unnaturally toned one looks like.
Can I give you guys a comparison to be able to show you the difference?
Yeah, so the difference between like in a coin and on a coin.
So this is a natural tone.
So look how deep and dark this 91cc is. You know, it's still a 91cc. It's still a great coin, but you see how dark the coin looks? It kind of looks unnatural. It doesn't look like that color came in naturally, whereas this one's not. It's kind of hazy. It kind of looks like an oil slick that's on the coin.
Yeah,
You see, it's like kind of oily looking. That's I know it's not a very good word use, but the look is just, you know, like look at the rim here. See how you just have that kind of little like crescent toning starting to come through. And this one is just dark. So what a lot of people don't know is if you take a coin and you throw it into
sulfur dioxide.
yeah, sulfur dioxide. You can actually do it with eggshells and aluminum foil and all sorts of stuff. Like there's a bunch of tricks you can do to coins that'll color them up. But the thing is you have unnatural toning and then you have natural toning. Unnatural toning is usually caused by people fiddling with the coins. But leaving a coin in sunlight will actually cause it to tone, and that is a natural toning. But you'll see some coins that they call altered color, and that is a big, you know, or artificial toning. Altered color usually comes from, you know, something did something to that coin to make it darken. This one, in this one's case, this was sulfur dioxide. I mean, you can tell just from the look of it that they left it, and they left it in there for a long time.
Yeah, too long.
too long. It made it dark. And there are some colors that you have to watch out for. God, I think it's either blue or purple. Blue, and don't get me wrong, blue can be natural, but that dark blue is unnatural. If it's like royal blue, like this one is, typically it's gonna be messed with. There are some coins I've seen that get that look, but if you're ever dealing with a colored coin that's raw, be hesitant because sometimes it's not natural.
Now, what that calls mean, this one being considered unnatural toning, that usually dings the coin a little bit in your cost to it as well.
So this coin is the only reason this one is priced the way it is because it is a 91cc. The only reason this is in a holder is because it's a 91cc. If this coin came back to me artificially toned, I would, and it was a common date, nothing coin, I usually would break it out. The only reason I left that one in the holder is because it's a good example. And not only that, it's a 91cc. Because that coin raw, cleaned, I would personally rather have a coin that's cleaned than artificially darkened, you know, or something that's damaged. And that's the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about. Some of these people will because there are coin doctors in this world that are really good at their jobs, guys. Really good at their jobs. There are some people, though, that will re-darken a coin, retone a coin to cover up a cleaning, to cover up a little bit of damage. And you know, and the thing is I do feel like it's, you know, you can doctor a coin in some aspects. But, you know, you could argue, hey, you know, if you dipped a coin, you doctored it, because you're removing something original. But I also agree that when you're dipping a coin, you're not hiding any of the damage. If anything, you're going to reveal it when you dip a coin. Whereas with retoning, you can cover up some of the nasty stuff that you can't see.
Right.
So I usually advocate for people to buy coins that are in holders. Typically, you won't see coins that have changed colors in holders, but Then I think about PCI holders, and PCI holders, almost every coin that came out of a PCI holder has that gold toning on it. And that was caused by a chemical reaction inside of their holder. Something they used in that holder causes the coins to change color. Well, is that natural? Because it was an over time change of color. It wasn't a on the spot change. Like this guy's, when this was done, this coin changed colors like almost instantaneous. Whereas this took years of this coin sitting somewhere in the right conditions for it to get this color. My proof Morgan or my proof Indians are a really good example of that. You see a lot. So if you actually look, you'll see a lot more proof coins with color than you will mint state coins. And here's the reason why. This was taught to me when I was younger. Proof coins, because we've been making proofs for almost the start of the country, basically, mostly from the 40s and 50s. A lot of like the 1804 proof dollars were struck, I think, in like the 40s or 50s. A lot of people don't know that. Our mint was the Wild Wild West when it was first made. But the cool thing is the proof coins, they were ordered by coin shops. Coin shops have been around for a long time, guys. Or a collector would order a proof from the mint. So that's why your mintages on some of your proof coins are so weird, because they, they only struck 10, or they only struck, 20 or 30 or 40 or 100. Well, that's how many they had ordered or something like, and along those lines. Well, when they shipped them, they were wrapped in tissue paper. And they were put in these envelopes and wrapped in tissue paper. Well, they'd get to the coin shops, and you know what the guys did with them? They'd set them on the desk, and they'd stay there, or put them in the safe, and they'd stay there for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And, later on in, the late 18, early 1900s, a lot of these old coin shops start going out of business. Well, they started finding all these old proof coins that would just be gorgeously toned. I mean, they would be blues, purples, reds, just the most gorgeous colors you've ever seen, vibrant orange, and a lot of these coins still survive. They're now in holders, and most of them are some of your highest grades ever known, but they're absolutely breathtaking coins. So basically the gist of it is coins that have color at one point have come into contact with something that has caused an oxidizing effect to change the color of the coin. And usually it's human assisted. A lot of you can still take a coin today, throw it into a box that has velvet or on a piece of cardboard or something, and you give it enough time on that piece of cardboard, it's going to change color. You put it on a piece of old rice paper or carbon paper, it's going to change color. So you can assist along some stuff, but a lot of these older school coins, they just sat in the right conditions for a long time. Look at our old proof sets. They came in cardboard sets, and they were a little different. So you had cardboard sets. They just put them in these little boards. I think the 53, 55 sets come to my mind. The 1953, 1955 mint sets. The mint sets. Some of these coins come out black.
Yep.
Because they had a negative reaction to the cardboard. And then there's other ones that were stored, I guess, in that just right temperature, right time. They come out rainbow toned, gorgeous looking, pretty, super attractive. Well, they were stored exactly the same. So why don't they look the same? And that is because it's an oxidation issue. It's, did somebody touch them right? Was there a speck of dirt left on something? It's that easy to make a coin change colors. It's one of the reasons why if you aren't knowledgeable and you don't know how to handle coins, you don't ever want to touch a coin. I know that Nate's seen it. I've seen it on proof coinage, or even some of these coins that get colorful. You'll be looking at the coin and you'll look and you'll see these little lines and you're like, what is that? And then you turn it just right and it's somebody's fingerprint. You can literally see where the oil from their finger toned on top of the coin. And it's like, what? But it's one of the reasons why you have to be careful, because fingerprints, I always tell people fingerprints on coins last forever.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. So you got to be really careful with that too. But, is it going to make it pretty or is it going to make it ugly? But no matter what, it's still a fingerprint on a coin. Nobody wants that. All right.
Well, speaking of Morgans, you had a really cool one that you were showing me.
All righty. Let's talk. We got two.
that.
We got two we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody's going to see this and think, oh, it's an 85 Carson City.
I did too. I jumped for joy when I saw it. So.
It is not a Carson City. A lot of people think that they only put Carson Cities into these GSA boxes. They did not. They actually made other coins that are in GSAs. You actually have 85 O's, 81 S's, and then the other thing you don't see anymore, and we're actually starting to see a very big resurgence on these, and their prices are getting a little crazy. Nate, I'm sure that you guys have had them come in, the soft packs.
Yes.
Guys, for the love of all good, stop cutting coins out of soft packs. I don't care if the coin looks perfect. Leave it in the soft pack. NGC has gotten to the point where they will grade them in the soft packs, in that cellophane. Leave them alone. And the way you'll know a soft pack is it's got the little disc over to the left, and it's a piece of cellophane, and then you got a Morgan or a peace dollar in the right. Leave them alone. They're worth more in that packaging than they are out of that packaging. But back to these. This coin is actually arguably rarer than like an 82, 83, 84 Carson City. I don't have the number in the top of my head, but I want to say it's like 10,000 85 O's were only done. Most of the coins that they did were Carson Cities. That's what, because even Carson Cities have always been rare, because they just made less of them. But an 85-0 Morgan is common as it gets. You can buy a 63 for almost nothing, mint state. But the reason that this one is better is because it's in this packaging, okay? So don't ever break them out. Leave them alone. They're fine. Yes, I know they're beautiful, but they'll grade them in this holder too. Do not break out your GSAs. I have seen some people doing it because I had a guy that came in, I kid you not, he brought me the boxes. They're sitting up on my shelf now. He's like, hey, I have some GSA Morgans, and he brought me the 2 boxes. He had the clamshell. He had the 2 cases. He broke out an 85cc and a 78cc GSA. He broke them out. Guys, do not break out your coins. Leave them in their original government packaging. I promise you that they're better in that packaging. The other thing, something I want someone to notice. This came to me this way. There's something very important missing from this. Nate, you probably know what's missing.
I was just looking for it.
These come with cards. Okay? These come with a little card. And I think I have one I can show you. It should be up here on the shelf.
The Carson City ones are different than the
yes.
than the ones that weren't classified as Carson City.
Oh my God, no, I don't have them anymore. I must have given them away. Oh, well, go fish. That's okay.
I'll probably try to put one in.
Yeah, cool. If you can
or,
drop one. Yeah, I thought I had a couple of them, but I don't know what I did with them. They're probably buried somewhere. When you get a coin shop, you start hoarding stuff. Guy knows that. So, but yeah, they have a little card. It's a little tiny card. It usually says, Carson City on the top if it's a Carson City coin. So that's the other thing I want to bring up. We'll talk about that in a second because I think that's pretty cool.
Here's a comparison for you.
2 different holders, okay? Carson City holder, not a Carson City holder. Uncirculated silver dollar. Now, I'm not 100% sure because I don't remember. I'd have to see multiple of them in one spot. You can still get a Carson City in one of these holders, okay? But there's also holders that don't say uncirculated, if I'm not mistaken. Typically, the dollar is still uncirculated in that circulated holder. Don't break them out. And if you get one that's like super slick, keep it, because I don't think I've ever seen a circulated one like in a GSA holder. Like a really circulated, like a slick, a coal. I don't think I've ever seen one. Have you?
No, they're all from bags. So
yeah, they all look nice. So, oh, and the other thing about that, talking about the GSA horde, most people think it was just all Carson Cities because that's what most people have seen. A lot of the other dates got broken out because people didn't care. There's rumors, I can't confirm it, but I'm sure it did happen because, most people, that horde was amazing. There was stories that entire bags of trade dollars came out of that horde, a bag of seeded dollars came out of that horde. I mean, can you imagine, Nate, today, if something like that happened, like they just found an entire horde of dollars, like 1861 dollars or 1860, I think it was a bag of 1860 that came out of the GSA horde. Imagine just finding an entire bag of 1860 in mint state BU condition. Oh my goodness, man, that's what dreams are made of.
You never know, there's still some old banks out there.
There absolutely are, and that's the thing, they find new hordes every year, and shout out to the Red Book. If you guys don't get the Red Book, the new one, you can order it off Amazon or go, some of the shops carry them. But they talk about the hordes in those books, and I'm telling you, man, there is buried treasure in this country. Absolutely is. There's Civil War gold out there. The Kentucky horde, that was all Civil War stuff. I think that's our most recent horde, but is the Kentucky horde. But they find stuff all the time, and they've been finding hordes of coins in this country for hundreds of years.
Now something special came with this one too. Let's talk about that. That's pretty cool.
I've never seen this, and they just started doing the bag fragments, and I thought this was neat. And this is older than the bag fragment, so this is an actual piece of the canvas bag for the Carson City mint bag, and I've never seen them slab one of these. I don't know about you, Nate, this is the first time I've ever seen one.
Never seen one like this. No.
So this came in with this, so I don't know if it's anything fancy. I thought it was cool. I was just going to take it and keep it. This is actually one of my, even though it's not a high grade, I love how PCGS encapsulates these. They actually put the entire coin into a holder, whereas NGC does like a ribbon around it and it stays in the box. The only thing I don't like about this,
doesn't fit in the box.
Doesn't fit in the box. But that's okay. It's still nice, secure, acceptable. But yeah, I've never seen the Carson City mint bags like this, because I know that recently they started doing the little bag fragment coins, and this I know for a fact predates that. But what I thought was really cool is you can scan this. So that is like, you can actually scan that. But yeah, I thought it was pretty neat, little 1x1 inch. But it makes you think, man, that bag held a lot of money. Imagine finding a mint sealed Carson City bank bag today, man. That'd be unbelievable. I'm assuming it came from this bag, from this horde. So it's probably all 84s. I would take any Carson City mint bag. I don't care which date it is. So key date wise, this is another thing. Carson City Morgans are all rare. They're all better dates. But what some people don't know is the GSAs actually bring a premium over what a regular GSA or what a regular Carson City does. So if you find a little black box, I mean, they are inconspicuous little boxes. I mean, they are very, very easy to miss. You don't look at them. But if you see this box, it's going to have, you hope that it has one of these coins in it. And I hope for you that it has an 89cc in it. I think there's only one that's known. I think it's graded, but you never know. Crazy things happen. But these coins bring a big premium over what a regular Morgan does. And it's because they only released a set amount of these. So they made a total mintage of this, but the government only released a certain amount of these. They sold a lot of the bags before they realized, hey, we can sell these for some profit. So it's a really cool horde. It's debatably the biggest horde of dollars I think that's ever come out. And I'm trying to remember the date what was the super rare Morgan, Nate? Was it that the GSA Horde made worthless, basically? Was it the 03? Was it the 030? I mean, I know the 030 is still super rare, but I thought it was the 04. Isn't it the 040? That used to be super rare, and then they found like a gazillion of them.
It was one of those two. Off the top of my head, I have to go back and read
somebody look that up, because I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head.
Drop it in the comment to remind us which one it was.
Yeah, I think that's a super good little like educational thing, because one of the Morgans used to be. I could probably look in one of my old, my really old red books and find it. But one of the the GSA Horde impacted the market so much. They found there was a Morgan there. It was one of those dates we mentioned. It might even be a different date. It was so rare. It was a super expensive coin, and then they found a massive amount of them. I want to say it was the 030, and the 030 is still a rare coin today. Mm-hmm. But once they found this Horde, it just killed it.
Oh, Tara came over, and our fact checker it's the 19030.
Yeah, so the coin is still a key date. But it was up there with the 93S back then. It was a really rare coin. They thought the entire mintage was melted or something like that. Well, the GSA Horde happened, and they found a gazillion of them. So it was a really cool Horde. So, Nate, let's pause. I'm gonna take.
All right, Glenn. Well, we're back at it. Sorry, we just had a customer walk in. There's something you were going to do. We were talking about earlier too, and then that was you got a couple of coins that you're not kind of happy with.
All right. So let's talk about crackouts. When do we crack out coins? Why do we crack out coins? All right. So first coin on the block. This is an 1889 PCGS graded Unk Details cleaned Morgan dollar. This date is not really rare, but somebody sent it in because they thought it was going to grade an MS65. Okay, I could try to sell it in this holder for the same money that I would a regular coin, or I could break it out and try to resubmit it. It does have a good look to it. Nate, what do you think? You think? What do you guys think? You guys think that coin would straight grade? Do you like it? Do you think it has a cleaning on it? And then I'll give. It's not bad, right?
I'm looking at the stars. I don't really see too much kind of around the stars.
There's not a big haloing effect to the coin.
The reverse looks pretty good too. See what everyone else has put. Comment below if you guys think that if you feel like this coin was clean at some point. Let me know.
But I'll tell you what we'll do. We will play with this. Me and Nate will play with this. I'm gonna resubmit this. I'll probably send it to ICG or somebody just for a quick, get it back coin. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna break this out and we're gonna resubmit it and we're gonna see what it comes back, and I'll send over Nate the results, or he'll come up here and we'll get an answer. But some people ask, hey, how do you do it? I do it a little differently. Some of these holders are easier to do than others, but you can literally just take them. The holders are not, they're easy to break. Usually I have a pair of clippers that I cut around the edges, but I really wanted to do this just to show you guys how easy it is to break the holders. That's why, just dropping them sometimes chips them. Shout out to CAC on that though, man. CAC, I don't know if you guys have had to break out a CAC coin yet at the shop. Have you had to break a CAC holder yet?
I haven't had to break one, no.
Dude, those holders are indestructible. They are so hard to break. And sometimes, guys, there are coins that people just get graded that they don't really need to be in holders. They're not rare, but you need them to fill a hole. This coin would look good in somebody's book. Okay, it still looks like an uncirculated Morgan. I do personally think it has a light cleaning. I think somebody fiddled with it to get the color to change. But the coin overall is a mystery. So we'll find out what it comes back.
Yeah, and that's not his only one, guys. He's got a couple.
No, I have two more that I'm gonna send out and play with. 34S or a 34 Philly.
Details clean on that.
Details clean. I bought these from a good friend of mine, and you can actually see. So I think this one, I personally think this one's going to be cleaned, but I think this 23D to me,
Man.
yeah, absolutely. This 23D to me looked original when I was rolling with it and playing with it. The grade's not super high, but if you can really get a good difference in luster, how luster's supposed to look when you look at these. And what it is as you roll this one, it has the pinwheel, but the surfaces look dull. That one, though, you see the luster, it's bright, it's white. When you roll it, the pinwheel's there.
It's close. It is.
But it's got a lot of ticks on it. But I think they're just bag marks. But it's a really, if you actually look at them together, you can really see the difference in color.
Yeah.
It's really both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
So really neat thing. And a lot of people ask, when is it worth breaking out a coin? Because you can keep I always say you're just throwing money at a problem. And sometimes that's the case. You know, you can keep throwing money at it and hoping for a different result. What is that? Isn't that insanity? Isn't that what they say insanity is?
Yeah.
So now this coin's out.
Or owning a boat.
Yeah, owning a boat. Yeah, bust out another 1,000. Love boats. So the biggest thing is I look at it spread wise. Let's say a coin in a 58 is $100. Well, in a 60, it's $1,000. Maybe I should send this in for a resubmission. Maybe I should break it out. But there's two sides of this coin. Well, what if it comes back at 55? Or what if it comes back cleaned? Or what if it comes back details? I was actually just talking to Nate's wife about it. I had a friend of mine that broke out a trade dollar set. He's no longer a friend, but that's okay. Every coin came back details, even though they came out of mint state holders. Well, you know what? He took a beautiful set and then had to try to get it all back into the same holder. But you know what? It's one of those things where you have to justify the means. If you trust your eyes enough and you're like, man, I think that's a mint state coin. I think that's going to straight grade. Well, you either trust yourself or you don't. But you also have to, can you justify it? Is it worth sending it out? Is it worth saying, all right, PC or NGC, I'm going to pay you another $30. I'm going to pay you what a low-grade one of these cost to get that coin into a holder. Now, if you, and the other thing is, go ask your local coin shop. Hey, do you think this could possibly get into a straight grade? Hey, do you think this would grade better than what it is? Okay, there's whole markets based on, you know, people trying to find upgrades. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that coin, you know, look at the old holders. You know, they were a lot tougher back then than what they are now. You know, they are really tough back then than they are now. You've got some coins that are 2-3 grades higher than what they were. You know, for those of you who are familiar with CAC, you know, the gold sticker CAC coins. I actually have a nickel in here that has a gold CAC on it.
Well, let's kind of peruse around. I think last time we never really got to show off your store for you. So
sure.
Let's kind of do a peruse around and kind of give them an idea of what you actually carry here.
The bullion case.
This is his bullion case. Got a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, a little bit of it all. 90% bullion. The gold's usually at request, but that's fine. I do have some.
Also got 90% if anyone needs some 90%.
The most casino tokens I've ever seen in one spot.
Oh yeah,
They're at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Case.
Oh, here you go. Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of those. They're silver in the middle, but it's a copper ring on the outside.
Yeah, they're 0.6 of an ounce. They're very weird. And then I've got, you know, just your standard stuff. some better date condition wise, not expensive. And then there's some good stuff mixed in here. I did just get back from a show, guys. Excuse some of the stuff that doesn't have prices on it. Oh, Nate, this is a really cool coin I want to talk about. Have you ever seen that? They graded that coin VF.
Huh.
Straight grade.
I've never seen a straight graded coin like that.
Without a numeric on it, right?
Right.
So I dug into this. They did this, I guess, with Morgans and with trade dollars. So they called this a straight grade VF. It's not a details coin. It's the only one I've seen them do this with. I thought it was really neat. Now I want a Morgan because I've never seen these. But yeah, it's called the 19th Century Dollars. I guess NGC did this. It was probably some TV promotion. But really neat coins. Give me 1 second. I just got to grab my phone.
Yeah, we'll just keep looking.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Just had to take that quick phone call. Buddy of mine's picking up some inventory for me. Yeah, so it was just a really neat coin. I picked it up at Fun, actually. It was a fun pickup. I've never seen one, so I said, you know what? Never seen that holder. I want to buy it, so I bought it. Inventory-wise, I did just get back from Dalton. Dalton was extremely good. I sold a ton of stuff. It was phenomenal. It was the best Dalton I've ever had. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good market, really good room. I'm still sitting on some pretty big key date stuff. I do have some stuff put away. My pride and joy is my shipwreck stuff over here on the other side. I've really started to pick up a lot of shipwreck stuff.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff, guys.
Yeah, I picked up a super nice grade 2 Atosha still, which when I say this thing, I've seen grade 1s that look worse.
Yeah, this one's good looking. I
have seen grade 1s that look significantly worse than this.
So he's got the authenticity with it. So if
yeah,
you
still
picture and everything,
still sitting in the original Mel Fisher flip.
You got even the Mel Fisher flip. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The original tag. But I mean, this thing is just breathtaking. It's got a nice look at that Spanish cross. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful coin. Yeah, I've seen grade 1s that look worse, but it's just a pretty coin. And you know, there's a very, we're in Florida. There's a big collector's market here for this stuff. But the other thing I picked up that I was gonna give a little shout out to Beantown Coins down in St. Pete. Joe sold me this. This is a really cool coin. This is a Juniper 8 Real. The last Spanish galleon. Just a beautiful coin. It's a low grade. It's a grade 4, but they actually pulled a date off of it. 1656. And it was in this super nice display, and I said, you know what, Joe, I like it. I want it. I want to hang it up in the shop. So I bought it from him. Joe's a super nice guy. If you guys ever get a chance to go down and see him, he's a good guy. But yeah, it's just a really neat piece. I like how they framed it, the bag that it came in, just cool. Just cool stuff. Rum Runners, these have been a consistent good coin for me in the shop. I picked up a Mule Trail. We can talk about that. That's another pickup recently from Fun. It is not designated on the holder, but that's okay. I do have the paperwork, and I think one of the reasons they didn't designate it is because it wasn't photographed on the paper, but that's all right. It's buried down there. It is. So this goes with this. So Mule Trail. What the heck is a Mule Trail Glen? Okay, so fun fact. These mints in South America were usually at the mines, okay? So to get the coins to the boats, they would put them on mules, and they would literally cart them to the ships. Well, what people don't realize is crime has been around for a long time. Accidents happen. So some of these mules would get robbed. They would go and, they would fall off cliffs, or they would, avalanche or landslides. South America, Glen, doesn't snow. Not everywhere. They would get caught up in landslides and all sorts of stuff. Well, people are finding these old trails. They're finding some of these hoards of coins because they were in bags. So, no telling how long this coin sat. But the cool thing about this was they gave it a straight grade. That thing sat in the ground for who knows how long, and it wore and wore and wore, but they still gave it a straight grade. I thought that was pretty amazing. Shout out to Coastal Cobb. Dane sold me this. Love him, man. He's a great guy. He sells some beautiful coins, man. I picked up a Cuban Waters shipwreck from my buddy Matt Tavery, World Coins South, if I'm not mistaken. And then these are constellations, okay? I cannot pronounce it the way the Spanish do. It's like constellation or something like that. It's crazy. But these are actually in extremely good shape for what they are. If you guys have ever wanted to see what a real old 8 real looks like with the pillars, I just thought this was amazing, the big die crack in it. But I mean, XF details, sea salvaged. I mean, and these coins from this wreck are notoriously bad condition. I mean, look at this guy. And this guy's actually in a better condition than they usually are. But look at the difference in detail on these coins.
Boy.
So, constellations are cool. I always do recommend, if you're buying anything shipwreck, make sure you have real documentation. Documentation is the only way that you can prove that a coin is shipwreck. Okay? If you walk in here with an 8 real that is old and it looks like it came out of the water, I can't prove that it did. I can't prove what boat it came from. There might be somebody out there that can, but I'm not the guy. And I know a lot of the shops aren't the guys either. So if you have your documentation for your stuff, please bring it. We want to see it, because that's what makes us able to buy the stuff for good money, is when we can prove to. Because guys, we don't send it to NGC or PC or CAC and they just like, yeah, it's good. No, we actually have to send them all of that documentation too and say, hey, here it is. This is real. Send it back in the pedigree holder. So, and that is the only way you get a pedigree holder. Then I have typical just silly stuff, Ike sets, complete Ike sets, Silver Eagles. This is a pretty cool piece.
Ooh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, look at the panda. Who doesn't like pandas with gold in them?
That's a kilo.
That is a kilo. This is a limited run. I want to say they only struck, one of 2,000. They didn't strike a lot. I actually own 2. My wife would kill me if I sold hers, so it's sitting at the house. So China is really cool, guys. The reason that I think China's had a lot of success with their silver pandas, they change their design every year. So they made them collectible. Silver Eagles are cool, but other than the 2021s, I think is when we switched, they've been the same coin since '86. China's done a different panda every year.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I think that's cool. It gives you some collectability. And then I had this come in the other day. Nate, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I've never seen one.
I haven't seen it. I saw you showed me.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
Pretty cool.
Birds of Paradise set. I didn't even look. I don't think they made that many of these. But only 500 were available in the United States.
This is what, New Guinea?
Yeah, Papua New Guinea. Yeah, they made 1,000. So they limited the mintage to 1,000 worldwide, and they only 500 were made available in the United States. So pretty cool set. Yeah, you got a quarter ounce of gold in here, so that's always neat. But yeah, cool stuff. And then it's the typical stuff. I do cater to raw a little bit. My raw side is a little bit more healthy than my graded side, because most people that are coming in here who are filling their books, they don't need a graded coin.
you know, if you're filling up a Dansko, you need your common date Morgans, your common date $50 to put in your books. So I do cater a little bit to that on the other side. But it's a cool thing, guys, you know, and to be honest with you, you know, the shop's at a point where I can't put everything out. But it is an amazing hobby. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be doing what I'm doing, you know, glory to God for it, because it's really to Him that I'm able to do this. And I'm so grateful for people like Nate who are helping me. You know, Nate came up here. I'm getting a nice interview of the shop. He gets to see some cool stuff, and I'm hoping I'm showing some stuff that you guys are interested in. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to hopefully become some of y'all's coin dealer. But that's it.
Well, I'll drop your information down below for everybody in the description, his address, phone number. You can always give him a shout. Here's this card right here. I can just kind of do that too, so in case people want to know. Once again, Glenn, thanks so much for having us.
Nate, you're always welcome.
Till next time, guys, be safe. God bless America.